You've been telling yourself this for years. Maybe silently. Maybe without even realizing it. I'm just not a confident person. And every time you say that, it feels true, because your life seems to prove it again and again. But there's a part of you, a very quiet part, that doesn't fully agree. It just watches. It notices. And sometimes it asks, was I always like this? Or did I become like this? And that question, it doesn't leave you. Because if that's true, then something shaped this version of you. And if something shaped it, then maybe it can be changed. Before we go deeper, I want to tell you something important. This is not just a story. This is your space to grow. Here, you are not only going to improve your English, you are going to understand your life better. Every story you hear here is designed to do two things at the same time: help you learn simple, natural English, and help you think deeper about yourself. So while you listen, don't just focus on the words, feel them. Notice the emotions, notice the situations. Because the more you connect with the story, the more your English improves, and the more your mindset starts to change. And slowly, without pressure, without stress, you will see yourself becoming more confident, not just in speaking English, but in living your life. Now, come back to that question. Were you always like this, or did you slowly become this way? Because if you're honest, there were moments, small ones, almost forgettable, where you were not like this. Moments where you didn't overthink every word, where you didn't doubt every action, where you just did things. You spoke. You tried. You didn't calculate every possible outcome before moving. But then something started changing. Not in one big moment, not in something obvious, but in small, almost invisible ways. You remember those moments, don't you? You're sitting somewhere, maybe with people, maybe at work, maybe with friends, and there's something you want to say. It's right there in your mind, clear, simple. You even start forming the sentence in your head. I should say this. But then, a pause. What if it sounds stupid? Another pause. What if they don't care? And suddenly, your confidence disappears, not slowly, but instantly. Your heart starts beating a little faster, your chest feels tight, your mind begins to overthink something that was so simple just a few seconds ago. And then, someone else speaks. They say something similar, maybe even less meaningful than what you were about to say, and people listen. They nod. They respond. And you just sit there, quiet. And in that moment, there's a very small feeling inside you, not loud, not dramatic, but sharp enough to stay. I could have said that. But you didn't. And you tell yourself, it's okay, next time. But next time comes, and the same thing happens again. You hesitate again. You stay quiet again. You hold yourself back again. And slowly, without even noticing, this becomes your pattern. Not once, not twice, but again and again and again. You start becoming the person who listens more than speaks, who watches more than acts, who thinks a lot, but does very little. And from the outside, it looks normal. No one really notices. No one points it out. But inside, it feels heavy. Because every time you hold yourself back, something inside you shrinks a little. Not completely, just a little. And over time, those little moments, they add up. You start seeing yourself differently. Not as someone who can speak, but as someone who doesn't. Not as someone who can take action, but as someone who waits. And this is where it begins. The identity quietly builds. You don't wake up one day and decide, I will not be confident. No, it doesn't happen like that. It happens in silence, in hesitation, in all the moments where you almost tried, but didn't. And then there's your mind, your constant companion, always talking, always thinking, always analyzing. Sometimes it feels like it's helping you, protecting you. Don't say that, it might go wrong. Wait, think more. Not now, maybe later. And it sounds reasonable, it sounds safe. But what you don't realize is, this voice, it's not guiding you forward, it's holding you in place. Because every time you listen to it, you choose comfort. And comfort feels good in the moment. It feels safe. It feels controlled. But slowly, it traps you. Because the more you choose comfort, the harder it becomes to choose anything else. And then comes overthinking, that endless loop. You think about what to say, how to say it, when to say it, what might happen, what could go wrong. And before you even realize it, the moment is gone. The opportunity is gone. And you're left with thoughts, just thoughts. What if I had said it? Why didn't I try? I always do this. And that last one, it stays. I always do this. Because now it's not just about one moment. It's about who you believe you are. And once you start believing that, it becomes harder to break. Because now every new situation feels like a test, and your mind already expects you to fail. What if I mess up? What if I embarrass myself? What will they think? And these thoughts, they feel so real, so strong, that your body reacts. Your heart races, your palms sweat, your mind freezes. And in that moment, doing nothing feels easier than trying. So you step back. Again. And life moves forward without you. Opportunities come and go. Conversations happen without your voice. Chances appear and disappear. And you tell yourself, one day I'll change. But that day never comes. Because you're waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel confident, waiting for that moment where everything inside you feels perfect. But here's the truth. That moment never comes. Because confidence is not something you feel first. It's something you build after. And maybe, just maybe, one day something shifts. Not something big, not something dramatic, just a small moment where you catch yourself hesitating again. You feel it, that familiar pause, that voice, don't do it. And for a second, you almost listen again, almost. But this time, you notice it, you stop. You don't run from it, you don't try to become confident, you just observe. And then, very quietly, you ask yourself, what if I do it anyway? Not perfectly, not confidently, just anyway. And your mind resists. This is not you. You'll mess it up. Just stay quiet. But for the first time, you don't fully listen. There's still fear. Your heart is still racing. Your thoughts are still loud. But you take a step, a small one. Maybe you send that message. Maybe you speak one sentence. Maybe your voice shakes. Maybe your words are not perfect, but you do it. And then, nothing terrible happens. No one laughs the way you imagined. No one judges you the way you feared. And you sit there, slightly uncomfortable, slightly unsure. But something inside you shifts, very slightly, because you realize, I did it. And that realization, it matters more than you think. Because for the first time, you didn't wait to feel confident. You acted without it. And that is where everything begins to change. Because now you have proof. You can act even when you feel fear. And slowly, your mind starts updating its belief about you. You begin to see yourself differently. Not as someone who always hesitates, but as someone who tries. Someone who faces discomfort. Someone who moves forward even when it's hard. And it doesn't happen overnight. There are days when you fall back. Days when you overthink again. Days when you stay silent again. But now you notice it. And that awareness gives you a choice. And slowly, you start choosing differently. You speak a little more. You hesitate a little less. You act even when it feels uncomfortable. And over time, those small actions, they build something inside you. Not loud confidence, not fake boldness, but something real. A quiet strength, a calm belief, I can handle this. And that's when you finally understand. You were never born without confidence. You were just trained to hold yourself back. Trained by small moments, by repeated hesitation, by choosing comfort again and again. But just like you learned it, you can unlearn it. One small step at a time. And now, when that old voice comes back, when it whispers, "What if you fail?" you pause, you breathe, and you answer, "Maybe I will, but I'll still do it." Because you understand something deeper now. Confidence is not something you find, it's something you create, one small, uncomfortable action at a time. And the person you've been waiting to become, the confident version of you, is not hiding somewhere in the future. It is being built, right here, in the moments where you choose courage, even when you're scared. And before you go, if this story felt like it was speaking directly to you, if somewhere inside you you saw your own life in these moments, then don't just leave it here. Take one small step today, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if your voice shakes, even if your mind says not now, because this is how it starts. And if you want to keep growing like this, improving your English, understanding yourself better, and slowly building real confidence through stories like this, then make sure you stay connected. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next story. Like this video so it reaches someone else who might need this today, just like you did. And if you can, share it with someone who is still silently struggling, someone who just needs that one push. Because sometimes, one story at the right time can change everything. And maybe this was that story for you.